Hey guys, welcome to SLT Learning. So, as I promised, we're gonna talk about how we can start any project from scratch, right? Like where the manual testing required when you apply for a job and how you normally work as an automation and manual tester for any company. So most of the times people think like automation tester mainly do the coding, right? And they do not require the manual testing knowledge. But they are totally wrong. Manual testing is the base of QA testing, right? If you are not able to understand the requirement, if you are not able to understand the validation point, right? If you are not able to test the application manually, then to do the automation testing is not possible at all. So for that I got many requests from people like they ready to go with the paid training and all those things, but I believe to share the knowledge for free of cost. So I want you to learn from my channel SLT Learning. Okay, so in this particular series of videos, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take one application, right? And for that application I will show you step by step how you can start working as a QA manual tester, and then how you can move yourself from manual testing to automation testing from the same project. Okay, so before we go further, right, I would suggest you, if you like my videos on the channel, please share, subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much. So let's, without wasting a time, let's we go to the first the agenda of what is the complete path that I am thinking that one should follow if they wants to learn manual testing and move their self on an automation side. Okay, in this video we will talk about the basic of manual testing, and we will take the domain knowledge and how we can start for one application. But this is the roadmap that I normally believe like one should understand, okay, when they want to apply for a QA manual or QA automation job, right? So first of all, the thing is that project requirement analysis, right? So whenever you join any company, right, they will definitely assign you some project, right? And project will always have a domain, right? That I have already explained in my video, right? If you go to my YouTube channel, you will find the separate video what is the different domains, what are the different type of projects, everything. The manual testing crash course I have put over there, every concept has been described in a detailed way, so you can refer that part. But over here, when you want to start yourself from the manual to automation, these are the few things you need to understand. Okay, so first of all is the project requirement analysis, right? Why I'm saying the requirement analysis not for a QA, even for a developer, for a BA, for any person working in a software development life cycle, requirement analysis is very much important. Because when you understand the requirement, then and then you can do your task correctly. Okay, if you are a developer and if you know the requirement correctly, then and then you can develop the application which is useful to the customer. Then if you're a tester, right, if you know the requirement correctly, then and then you can create the test scenario, test cases, and validation point on those things. Okay, so we are gonna talk about more from the testing side. Okay, so first understand the project requirement, what is the domain, what could be the end user, try to use your real time experience. Okay, this is, see, most of the application are nowadays are the domain specific, where like I will just say 70 to 80% we are involved. Okay, like e-commerce le lo, gateway le lo, then you can talk about, I will just say, healthcare or HRM software, anything. Most of the time we know the basics. Okay, when we have heard about that term, because sometimes it come to use in our day to day activities, or sometimes if you are in an office, then we already know the HRM process, how it's gonna be work. When you are doing the online shopping, you know the e-commerce project, how it's going to be work. Okay, so project requirement is very much important. To understand the project requirement, you can refer the SRS document, the business document, and there are many other document, right, which you can refer to gain the knowledge about the application. But in this particular series, we're going to talk about the actual application. We will take the actual application, we finalize our testing requirement, we will create the manual test cases, then from the same manual test cases we're going to create the automation test cases, and we will run the automation as well, and we will see how it's going to work and how it's going to save the time for doing the manual testing and the automation testing. Okay, so once, so let's we go to the first requirement, project requirement understanding. Okay, so in this particular application or in this particular series of video, I'm gonna take the orange HRM application, right, that we all know it is available free of cost. So you can hit this URL. I will add this URL in the in this particular video description. But this is the one application that we're gonna talk in our this particular series. We will do the manual testing first, then we will use the same test cases to do the automation side. Okay, so if you see this application, right, as the name says, orange HRM is human resource management system. Okay, so now when you talk about HRM, right, so first you need to understand the HRM domain, right. So whenever you work on any application, try to understand the domain, right. So how you can find the more information about domain? First things, you normally go and Google, like what are the different component we will have in HRM, what are the different component we will have in e-commerce, right. So in simple word, I will just say is a component in HRM system, right? So this is simple. We normally can search on Google, right? What are over here? We can see the five component, right? It just says talent management, compensation management, employee benefit, training and development, compliance management, workspace management. Then other will just says onboarding, recruitment, performance, time tracking, payroll management. So these are the different domain that we came across when we talk about the HRM application. Now suppose, if you think, right, if you're describing yourself like I have taken a training from this XYZ institute, right, and you just says I have been a part of this orange HRM application, then interviewer wants to hear from you is that you should know the component of HRM, right. So just talk about the component that you are the part of it, right. Just try to give them some more knowledge about, like, I was working in a employee management or organization management or a payroll management, workplace management. So these are the different component about this application, right, or sorry, about this domain. So what we understood so far, human resource management and the component of that particular human resource management. Okay, now what we need to understand, how they will going to use this application, right, how they going to use this project or software. Is it the web based application or window based application or mobile based application? So these questions you need to ask yourself when you understand the requirement, because if it is a based application, then our testing will be more focused on mobile side. If it is a web-based application, we can think about the web-based scenarios. If it is a Windows-based application, then we will think about the Windows-based application. Okay, so this is really important to understand what is the domain, what kind of application we have over here. So currently we will have a web-based application because we have the URL of the application. Okay, and we're gonna access this particular application from the browser. Okay, so this is clear, right, the domain and application related things. Next, who gonna use this application, right, who gonna use this software, who is the end user, who is the end client of this software. So this will help you to think about the scenario, right. So human resource management mainly used in the companies, right, to take care of their employees things, right. So first of all, as says human resource, this application will be used by the HR member, right. HR team will gonna use. Then it will have a payroll system, then payroll team gonna use. Then it has employee management, means employee also gonna use that things, right. So employee can apply for a leave, they can manage their time sheet. Then payroll team can view their time sheet and make the payroll of the every month. They can check their like timing, right, time in or time out for the systems. Then HR team can do the other activity like appraisals, like onboarding process, then appraisal process and everything. So these are the key users we can think about for the human resource management, right. So what are those? If you talk about the first component, right, component of HRM software. So I'm just writing down in a basic manner. Okay. So first of all, I will just say attendance management, right? Then timesheet management. Then I will just say employee management. Then what is else? I will just say is payroll management. then HR management, like HR related few stuff specific to HR. Then we can still go on Google and we can see it quickly. Workspace management, right? So we can just also include workspace management. So these are the component as of now we are thinking or for one HRM, right? It could be the more or it could be the less, depend on the requirement from the business. Now who gonna use this? Who will be end user of application? Okay. So guys, I'm taking the example of HRM software, but when you start testing any project, just think like that. Component and who gonna use that application, how they gonna use this application, okay? Via web-based, mobile or window-based applications. So who gonna use this application? So first of all, I will just say employee, employee itself, right? Then we will just say payroll team, means payroll department. Then we will just say HR team, HR department, admin team, right? They're gonna use that things. I will just say then management team, to see the overall performance and everything. So let's talk about from this different department. Employee department will have a list of employee. Payroll will have a list of payroll people like payroll employees. HR teams, HR employees. Admin teams means the people from the admin department, and management team. So they're gonna use this application, right? Now the next question you should ask to yourself: what actions different users will perform, right? Means what employee will do on this application. So employee will do punch in, punch out, right? They will put the timesheets and all those things. What payroll people can do, right? Payroll people will view the attendance, then they will see the leaves, if any leaves they have applied or not, right? If they want to credit any comp off, if they want to credit any leave or something like that, any approval from employer payroll team side is pending or not. Then what HR will do? HR will check about the employee information if it is accurate or not. Then if they will have any like the, I will just anniversary, right? Work anniversary, birthday anniversary or something like that way, how they gonna post on the HRM application, or how they broadcast the email, right? So few of the things HR will do. Then admin, how the admin gonna perform, like how they gonna do the cab assignment or cab management or shift management, something like that way admin will do. Then the management team will do, right? So once you understand the end user, then try to understand their action on application, right? What kind of features they're going to use, what kind of functionality they're going to use. So this will make you more aware about how to think about testing, how to create the different scenario, okay guys? This is not just for HRM. If you talk about e-commerce, if you talk about healthcare management system, if you talk about the payment gateway, if you talk about the CRM system, if you talk about ERP, everything will follow the same footprint, okay? So try to learn like this way. If you are starting as a fresher or 2 to 3 year of experienced person, right? Understand your application and what kind of applications, because when you understand this is a web-based application, right, then it will be easy for you to do the testing for web-based application testing, right? Because nowadays most of the things will be available on Google, but most of the time people struggle on their thought process, how to start, from where to start. So this is the series will help them to understand from the basic how they need to start from any application from scratch, from ground level, okay? So let's suppose now I understood this is a web-based application. If I go on Google and just says web-based application common testing or test cases, right? I will get a list of test cases over here, guys. There are many test cases that we can use in our actual testing as well. So many things available, many tutorials available, but the thing is that you need to go based on your thought process. Okay. So now let's we go to the next things, right? How to understand the test requirement. So what will be the next things? So project and domain requirement you understood, right? This is a very key things for the people, right? And how they gonna get the knowledge. Now this is one of the interview questions they're gonna ask: what and how you will define your test requirement in case there is no requirement document available for a project. So what you need to do, you can ask them, I will take a demo application or demo link to learn about the requirement, right? I will myself go through, I will ask these questions, right? If you ask these questions, who will gonna use this application, how they gonna use the application, key modules, what will the business critical requirement for this application. If you ask these questions, then you will definitely get more knowledge or more understanding about your application. Okay, so the next things will be the test requirement, right? How you can define the test requirement. Now you understood the project, right? This is my project and this is assigned to me for testing. That is it, right? And now I have the requirement document, SRS document, and those document I am pretty much clear. Now the next things will be test requirement understanding, because we are a tester, we need to test these things, right? Over here also the SDLC, the software test life cycle, right? That part will come into the picture. But I will suggest, if you are like new, like beginner, or you have taken a training but you somehow you are not able to get the clear concept, right? You can just go to my channel SLT learning. Over here, right, I have a playlist. So over here, if you go to the playlist, then I think on a QA manual crash course, right, I have explained everything in a
A
detail,
monolithic
guys.
architecture is built.
Everything in a detail. If you see over here, SDLC modules, black box testing, white box testing, security, sanity, smoke testing, concept wise, everything is defined by one to one. I will just say three. These are the different topics I have covered. Okay, with very much in detail practical, guys. So I will suggest you see over here, just go through these videos, you will get some more understanding. Because in this series of video, we gonna not talk about manual testing. I'm gonna tell you the key point how you should start manual testing and how you should convert your manual test cases on the automation side. Okay, so after understanding the project requirement, what we gonna do, we will start understanding the test requirement. Okay, so now we know the different modules, and based on the different modules, we also know the different end user, right? And from that end user point of view, we gonna think about the test requirement. What would be my entry level criteria, what would be my exit level criteria, right? How I need to do the testing, like do I need to include the non-functional testing like performance or security testing. That is again a part of the scope of the test for the project. That is again the part of the discussion with the management or a project manager, right? Do we need to include a non-functional like test, performance testing, security testing, or something like that way? And for functional side, you need to think about the UI testing, the normal black box testing, and what kind of testing you need to perform. But before a testing start, right, once you understand the testing requirement, you have to define these two things: entry level criteria and exit level criteria, right? So how the entry level criteria normally work in testing, guys? So what is entry level criteria? First of all, if you think about, right, this one, so it says I will just say itself, it says the entry in a testing site, right? So how you gonna start the testing, how you gonna enter the testing, like what kind of activity you will do. So once you will have an application under test, once you have requirement, you will start writing your test cases, you will start writing your test designing. Then you will start about the think about the scenario, right? So that is called the entry level criteria, right? So you need basic requirement, at least some kind of application or API to do the testing. Okay, and what could be the exit level of criteria? What is the exit level entry? When you feel okay, this testing has been done enough, right, and these are passing, right, my matching requirement. Let's suppose if I'm testing the build one, right, I just says in build one, if I complete the 95% of testing, then I will consider as a exit level from the testing side, right? So this is how you should define the testing. Once you will have a list of requirement ready, then you will start your testing. And once you finish your test cases, this much of test cases, you can exit from the testing. Okay, so this is two things you should understand when you start your testing, because testing you cannot start blindly, right? You have to understand the requirement. Okay, then you will think what type of testing you need to include. Do you need to include manual plus automation, or you need to do only manual testing? Because see, in a project, if the management says in future you have to do the automation as well, then how it gonna useful? Because you need, when you write a test case, you need to make sure you write a test case in such a format that in future you can easily utilize the same format in your automation test. Okay, then start preparing the requirement traceability matrix document, right? What the RDM document format you should follow. So all those things you will think at the time of the test case requirement. Okay, then start testing on actual, I will just say, business scenarios. Okay, so list down your scenarios, list down, discuss with the business team, project manager, right? These are the list of scenario that I am thinking to test in this particular version, because these are the base, these are the requirement has been assigned to me, and I am thinking to start the testing for that one. Clear down your doubts with your BA and PM guys. Never say like you are the right. Okay, if you're a QA, if you're starting any testing, if you have that point of understanding on any particular features, right, always get it reviewed by QA or project manager. That will help you to increase the coverage, understand the requirement, and try to include more validation point in your test cases, right? Then smoke sanity and regression, guys. This is the process why I am saying you need to understand in detail, because most of the time in automation we use the automation to do the regression, right? Because regression is the activity which we perform on an application on, I will just say, weekly or 2 weekly basis, to make sure our common application features, right, these are the most like stable and continuously used feature are working fine or not, right? So those kind of things we will normally discuss in regression. So if you refer this particular my video, okay, sanity, smoke, and regression, I have clearly explained the difference between them, how we gonna include based on the version wise, how the requirement gonna increase, and everything I have described in detail, guys. So make sure you refer this video. I will put the link in the description, but this is the video will be useful. Why? Because when we think about the regression, we will think about the automation, and in automation we need stable functionalities which we need to test frequently. So for that one you just refer this video. Okay, so far so clear, right? Project requirement and test requirement. If we go over here, that we have covered almost two things, right? Now the third things will be the manual test scenario, right? How you gonna think about the different manual test scenarios, and how you gonna write the test cases. So far so clear on this one. So what we gonna do after the manual test scenario, we will have some I will just say is the, I will give you some self the practice and the homework that you can follow and you can perform, right? That will help you to gain the knowledge about the manual testing as well. And again, guys, manual testing is very much important. Never underestimate the manual testing concept, because that will eventually help you to do the automation. Okay, perfect. Okay, sorry. Okay, guys, so let's we talk about the manual test scenario and test cases, right? How we can start creating the test scenario, and how we can start creating a test cases for that test scenario, right? And we need to always make sure this thing is in mind, because we are doing a manual testing because we need to automate those test cases in future. Okay, now let's we talk about the manual scenarios. What could be the manual scenarios, right? So we will take a basic example, right? Why I'm taking a login page example? Because we need to automate that the same thing on a different way. Okay, so login page module, right? If you talk about the login page module, what will be the different test scenarios we will have, right? So verify the page title, page URL, verify the logos and image file on login page, verify the login functionality, verify the forgot password functionality, verify the version and copyright link, right? When you start the testing of any application, guys, so we I already have one video on detailed view, right? I have also created different kind of test scenarios and all those things. If you see this test case development, you will find a detailed view, and I have used over here one format of testing, right, of test cases. You see over here the format of test cases will be different, but in this particular things we're going to use the different test cases format. Why? Because I want to show you guys how we can do the automation from the same test cases. Okay, so let's we go on this one. So this is our login page. Okay, so now let's try to learn the requirement, let's try to understand the requirement of this login page. Okay, so what we can do, so this is the thumb rule. Okay, first divide application based on module and sub modules. Okay, any application in this world will have a modules, and every modules could have a sub module or features. We can also just as features or functionality. Okay, now what will happen, right? So let's suppose I have a HRM software, right? It's a human resource management software, right? So we will go one by one. So currently I am taking this as a first module of this application, right? Why we gonna do the module basis? Because when we try to apply the framework, the page object model, right, design pattern, then this module will help us. You got my point? So I am showing you, if you starting any project from scratch, for manual testing to automation, follow this pattern, guys. This will help you to save your time and reutilize the things that you are creating. Okay. So to become a, like, page means module, right? The page means module. Okay. So what we're gonna do, the page wise we're gonna define our test cases. So first I will just is login modules, and it could be the login page. Right? So in a login page, what you can do, what things you can verify, guys. If you are a think from very basic, what things you can verify. So first of all, it come verify the page title and URL, right? So I will just say verify page title and verify its URL, right? Because sometimes you need to also verify the URL given by the developer is correct or not, right? Because when you work on multi environment, right, like QA development URL, QA URL, production URL, will have some little bit prefix or suffix in the URL. So think about that like way, okay? The page URL. Then what else you can find in this particular page? I can find this particular, if I right click, it's an image, right? So I will say logo image over here, right? So I will just say verify the logo and other image if they are display or not, right? Then we will talk about more like how you can validate these things. But currently, I am just list down the few things. Okay, how we gonna think about this particular application. Then I will verify the different labels. Okay, different labels I will verify, or I will just say verify the titles of the application. Right. This is we are not counting as a part of our testing, because this is just for information purpose. They have put on the login page, but we will say the title of this page, right? If you right click and go to inspect element, we can see this is the object we need to verify. Okay, so this is the login page title, what kind of header they have defined. So it may be possible, if let's suppose if we have login then spelling mistake over here. So I will just say verify different labels for spelling and syntax, right? Mistake like let's suppose if this is we need to provide login like this way, this is from the requirement, right? Requirement says you need to show login as like this way, but suppose developer make a mistake, like developer by mistake or by a debug a bug, they have put like this way logging. So this is wrong, right? If this is put logging, this is also wrong. If they have put something like that with spelling mistake, so these are the wrong things, right? And to validate these things, we need to make sure the requirement should be matched, right? L capital and other things are small, so these three are the different wrong scenario. So we check the spelling, we check the uppercase, lowercase, and everything. It should match the requirement. Okay, so this kind of small concept, if you start thinking, then you will overall you will understand the application, and nobody can do the testing of big application at one go, guys. If you are a learner, always think you should go with basics. Okay, so I will verify different labels and spelling in this one. Then I will just say let's we talk about the login functionality. At overall verify the login functionality or login feature. Okay, you can also say feature. Then verify forgot password. If I click on forgot password, right, how it's gonna be behave. So verify forgot password information on login page. Okay, verify forgot password feature, verify, and this I will just say is the copyrights remark and this link, right? Term and condition link. So I will just verify these things, verify a copyright, text and links. And what else you can see on this page, guys? This is another image you can see. If I right click, it just says no, this is not an image. This is seems to be design. Okay. Then yeah, this one social icon, right? Mouse over on social icon, it will show the URL. If you click on this one, right, you see the right side corner, you see the URL. So the verify the social icon and their URL. Okay. So I will just says verify social icons and URL. Like just see if you click on this one, what will happen, right? It will open the correct side or not. So this is how you need to make sure, guys. These are the things, right? So now if you see overall on login page, right, based on the functionality, I think we have covered almost everything, right? Now this is called the functional testing, basic features that we are testing. Then we need to test UI testing. Another thing, UI, right, means user interface, right? So over here what will become, guys, in user interface testing, UI testing, right, based on the user experience, right? So let's suppose I am a user, what it will attract me. Do I like the colors of this particular page, how it's look like, if this like text is visible to me clearly or not, if this font is visible to me, if login button, if I mouse over, it's change the color or not, right? So these are the different UI tests, like how the user is interacting with the application, how good they feel, right? So better UI will give you the better user experience, guys. Okay. So over here, like mostly you see the page and font, page font, image, colors and size, right? Then you will just say is uh, font size and colors, right? Okay, let's suppose if this is the background color is white and this is little bit gray, right? If some people will have the issue to visible, like to view it, right? It should be good if you make it dark black, right? It will be more visible. How this label, right, the text label will look like and all those things, how the link look likes. So based on that you can create the UI, user interface related your scenarios, guys. Think on that one, because most of the time color, display, size, look and feel will give you the UI level of testing. Okay, so I'm just marking you couple of example on this particular login page, but this is how you should think. Okay, so this is one things, right, that makes sense. Now how the scroll and everything will be work, but let's we keep understanding our point from manual testing side. For a login page we will talk more about this one, because if you see, if I log into this particular application, there are many more things, right? If I just put username, this is correct username and password, I can see there are many more things: admin module, PIM module, leave management, time management, recruitment. So these are the different modules we need to talk. I will take one example for each of them. We will talk about the manual testing for those things. Few things I will ask my currently I have couple of my student also joined this particular call over here. So I will also ask them to start creating some test cases based on the different modules. Like this is the dashboard page, right? Now you need to think about the dashboard page, how the dashboard page should look like, right? What elements you can see on a dashboard page and all those things. So these are the things you need to make sure we will cover in a manual testing, and then we will go with the automation testing. Okay, so now let's we understand the login page. Now let's we start writing the test cases. Okay, so I'm going to use the Excel, and in my automation I will read the data from this Excel and write my test over here. Why I am also using this Excel? Because the data, the few things I will read from the Excel and also write in an extend report. We all know, right, the extend report we use in the automation for a reporting purpose. So few of the column I will use from this Excel to put in an extend report, and from the data like pass, fail or something like that way I'm going to use over there. Now I'm going to create the test case which will also talk about the traceability matrix concept. Okay, because the traceability matrix I have already, I will just say, explain in a detail in my videos, right? How you can maintain the traceability metrics, right? So you can refer these videos and you will find the traceability examples and everything. Okay, but over here we will create a test case in such a way so the traceability remarks also get involved. Okay, and we will take a login page as of now. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I am first rename my sheet, just says login module. Okay, login page. So what we need to do, so first of all I will just give the serial number. Okay guys, few things we need to do, so I'm just gonna serial number of this particular things. Then just hold on, let me save this one, and I will save to my desktop. I just says I will attach master test cases for HRM. Okay, and when we talk about I will just say is the git, right? Because the next session I will take about git, because I want to show you how, not about the only automation, git is not only about the automation, how you can upload any sample file and how you can manage that things. Okay, so I will just say first serial number, then I will take the module wise. Okay, so I will add a module over here guys, because I want to use this one Excel for all my test cases for different modules. Okay, so we already know this is my login module. Then I'm going to take the example of user story. Okay, because I will read this data, right? User stories, why? Because suppose if this task, the login page is assigned to any developer, then it may be possible this feature will assign to one developer and this will assign to another developer, and for each and every they will have a separate user stories, right? So that is the reason I'm gonna just say user story ID. Then we will have, for that user story we will have a test case ID. Okay, so these are the basic. You can also like try to, after like completing this series, you can also try to put some test cases based on your requirement. We will can have a different format, right, based on your requirement. But this is I am writing in a such a way so you can use the same data when you do the automation. Okay, then features, right, with features or modules testing, feature tested, which features you gonna test it, right? Test cases, I will just say test steps, right? I will just say test steps, then expected result, right? And then I will just say actual result, right? And I will just say test result, overall test result, right? So these are the key modules. I'm as of now I'm just keeping. Okay, guys. Let me make it with zoom so you can see. So far so good, right? This is what, like, we can have more detail, like who is a tester, who gonna taste these things, right? But for that one we can make one sheet, like I will just say is the summary sheet, right, over here, summary. So over here we can put all those things, like what will be the version of the application, right? Like application name, then application version, right? Then test case design by, test case reviewed by, right? Then we will have a test case last modify date. So these are the things we can put, right? What could be the prerequisite, right? Prerequisite, sorry, prerequisites for testing of this application, right? You should require a internet browser installs, right? Everything, like these are the basic things we can mention over here, guys. This is not a big deal, but our point of view, right, these things we're going to maintain from the test ng file. So I'm not taking these things over here, right? But these are the different prerequisite, what kind of the URL, application URL, and all those things we can put on summary page. But our main focus will be this testing, actual testing. Okay, so that things we can easily pass by a testng file or by a data provider from testng, but this is the main thing. Okay, so let's we talk about the first one will be module would be login. Let's suppose my login module, right? And my user story would be user story 001, and my test case would be also test case 001. Okay, so first things I will just say is on login module, verify page title and URL. Okay, So this is the basic thing, guys. What you can write as a feature testing, what feature you are testing. So initially at basic level, I want to verify these things, right? So now I will just say what could be the steps. So steps you can also write like this way. One dot. This is the method I normally use. Go to application URL, then alter and enter. Then this is second. Verify page title, alter, verify page URL. Basic, guys, very basic. Okay, I think yeah, this is gonna make sense to you because it is a very basic functionality. But we're gonna add more advanced stuffs. Okay, so now these are the steps, right? And if I follow these steps, right, what are things I can expect as a part of the expected result. Okay, so URL I can also do one thing. Uh, go to the URL and I can pass as a test data, right? I can pass as a test data what could be the URL, right? So I can copy this URL. I can just say go to this URL, guys. I can pass as a test data, right? This is my test data. I want to go to this URL. I'm just making it more sense, right? And page title and all those things. So this is my basic steps, right? This is my first steps, this is my second steps, and this is my third steps. This is my module, this is my features, this is my module, login module. Okay, so far so good. Now expected result. So what could be the first expected result, right? So user should be able to land on application login page, right? And how you can verify? You can verify by the page title. So this could be my first, and always make sure when you write the test case in such a way, right, guys? Always have one to one. Okay, three steps, three expected result. Fourth step, four expected result. Okay, then the second one will be page title should be orange HRM. Okay, if I go over here, if I just say page title, right? So how you can find the page title? Page title is very much important from the automation point of view because in automation once you will validate the page title then and then you should perform other action on page. Okay, so if you go to header, right, if you go to header, I think you see this is the title, you see. So if you remember in Selenium you will have a get title method. So this is what it represents. Okay, so once you will validate the title, right, once you validate the title then and then you can perform the other actions. Then third one would be page URL should be right, and this could be the URL. This could be the URL. So guys, over here what we are doing, we are also passing the test data. But the recent project, the recent framework that I have worked, and it is really useful. Sometimes it is not necessary to use to have a like test data field over here, right? You can use this test data like what could be the page title, what could be the page URL in testng.xml, right? You can pass this data from there as well. So always good to write a test case in such a way that in case if you are absent, your team can understand your concept and they can perform the action, right? Now this test actual result and test result we will mention at that time when we do the actual testing, right, if it's pass or fail. And over here this is I will just say annual annual test result or test TR and automation TR. Okay, automation we will learn when we set up the Selenium and framework and everything, but both the things, right? So what will happen? The same sheet we're gonna use for a manual and for automation. Okay, I hope so far so clear, guys. Yeah, I know I have not. I have told you do not speak between the session, but please note down your questions. So after the session, we will talk about your all the questions and all those things, right? Now, so let's we take another. Okay, and it is for a login module, right? User story could be 002, right? Test case I will just say 002 and verify login functionality. Okay, positive. I'm just saying positive testing. Okay, verify the login functionality, right? Then I will just also one thing, we will do it over here. Okay, so the first one will be open browser, right? I will just give Chrome, open Chrome browser. Then go to application URL, guys, right? And then URL, we will know the app URL. I'm just passing the parameter like app URL, okay, for our understanding. Then third one will be enter. Then after entering, verify the page title. Because as I told you, right, before performing any action on any page, always verify the title. Then I will just say 4 steps. Enter valid user name, right? Then fifth one, enter valid password, because we are doing the happy part testing over here, guys. And then the sixth one will be click on login button, okay. Then seventh one will be verify the dashboard, or after login button we can do the verification over here. So this is so far so clear, right? This is login, this is user story 2, test case 2, verify the login functionality in positive side. Open a browser, Chrome browser, app URL. I'm gonna store this in testng, and this is the URL we're gonna store, app URL. So whenever we use app URL, this will call, right? The page title, we're gonna just say page title, verify the page title, right? Then over here, right, enter the username. So positive testing, I will use valid one. So admin, and the password I'm gonna use admin 123. So these are the same thing I'm gonna use. Okay, what we can do, we can see on this page login. This is valid one. Okay, so far so clear, right? We can use, we can store this data. Sorry, we can store this information, right, in a testng file when we do the automation, right? But over here it is clear, right? What we need to do, open a browser, go to application URL, verify page title. Page title could be this one, verify page title, right? This is how you can also say, guys, you can also write down the same thing over here, but you gonna do like this way. But this is how you should follow the syntax. Okay, now over here, expected result. First, user should be able to launch browser. Okay, first of all, let's suppose if the browser is not installed itself, right, what it's gonna do, it's gonna say no browser installed. Okay, so first things, user should be able to do the browser install. Then second things, user should be able to land on application login page. Then third, page title should be orange HRM. Then fourth, I will just says system should allow to enter user name. Then system should allow to enter password, right? And then once it will click on login button, what will happen? System or user should land to dashboard page, right? So this is the basic steps will happen, guys, right? When we follow this scenario, this is the basic steps will happen, how this gonna be work and how this gonna be work, right? So these are the mapping that we can see over here, right? So these are the expected result, right? These are the expected result that we expect, and this is how you should write the expected result, right? System should, or user could, something like that way, right? Should will indicate this should be happen or this should work like this way. But this is the basic stuff, guys, for the testing. Right now, let's we take another example. Third one. Right, the third one would be just says login module itself. The user story is 002 because it's the same user stories for login. Test case would be 003. Verify login functionality and negative side, right? Negative testing. So what I'm gonna do, I will gonna use the same thing. I'm gonna use the same thing, but what will happen, right? Enter invalid, guys. Over here we need to just say invalid, right? Enter invalid username and invalid password, right? It could be the more scenarios. I'm just saying username will be demo and password will be demo123, right? Then user should allow, yes, allow to enter the username and password. But when you click on login button, system should display error message, right? System should display error message, guys. So negative testing, what we will do, we will talk about the warning and error message. So suppose if I just says demo123, right, and I will hit enter, right, what will happen, system will show me this message, invalid credential. So I want to validate these things, okay? This message I want to validate invalid credential. So this is how we can do the testing, okay? Makes sense, right, guys? This is how you can start your manual testing, guys. This this data we're gonna read. This data we're gonna read in our testing, and when we write the automation test, we will read this one test scenario. We will put this in extend report. You can also do like this way. You can merge this one because these all are from login, right? So these are the login features. And these are the serial number we're gonna do. One-to-one mapping, we will check the list of steps we have mentioned, then list of expected result we required. Actual we will normally have as expected, as expected, as expected, and manual result pass or failed over here. So that is things we're gonna write it down over here. This is negative testing, but still, if it is coming with the valid message that will become pass, and all those things, we're gonna use the test ng assertion in automation, and based on that, we will put the result over here, right? I will showcase you everything, every concept one by one, and these are the series that I am starting. I mainly get a time from my work, so I will try to make the videos as soon as possible on my channel. But in case if I get delayed, I will definitely put every each and every concept, like what is test ng, what is maven, how you should use those concepts with the automation framework, right? In the next video I will still talk about more on different modules from the manual testing point of view. Then we will talk about the automation framework setup, like we will talk about what is selenium, how you can set up eclipse, how you can integrate the selenium maven project, right? What is the automation framework look like, and how you should set up your different folder structure and everything, okay? So I will just say stay tuned to this my channel, right? And we will have a more learning on automation side. And if you like this video, please share, subscribe to your friend circle and who is really looking to learn the manual plus automation from scratch. Thank you, guys. Take care. Bye. Happy learning.